Hi. So, I'm sure everyone's heard this thing being said, probably more than once, but at least once. You know, that there are no such thing as stupid questions. Well, you see, I disagree with that. It's not that there aren't stupid questions, it's that if you ask enough stupid questions, you, soon, you won't be so stupid anymore. Because if you really listen to the answer, you only need to ask a dumb question once. But listening is difficult. It really is. It's a skill that I really feel like so many people could improve at. And that definitely includes me. I'm not saying I'm some listening prodigy master or anything. I've got a long way to go still. But yeah, let's think back to school, because that's probably where a lot of people actually heard this thing, from like a teacher or someone. When a kid raised their hand and asked the question and they'd say something like, this may be a dumb question, but and then the teacher would say the thing, there are no such thing as stupid questions. But yes, there are. Some things may be pretty obvious, or they may be irrelevant to many people, things like this. Those could certainly be considered dumb questions. But once again, only need to ask them once. And after that, you'll be just that tiny bit smarter. So, in school, I'd almost never raise my hand. And this is absolutely true for so many people that at least I went to school with. So few people would actually raise their hand to either ask or answer questions. The idea is very similar. It's not the exact same, definitely, but answering in front of a group and asking a question in front of a group, the dynamic is very similar. Because in school, when you say something that could be seen as stupid, people tend to laugh. Yeah, because kids are mean. And because so few people actually raise their hands, sometimes the teacher would just take a look around the classroom and just pick someone, ask the question and be like, what do you think the answer is? And whenever that would be me, I'd feel so anxious, so nervous. My hands would start trembling, my heart rate would increase, I could feel myself sweating, all these things. And it seems so dumb. For something as simple as being asked a question. Such an over-the-top reaction. But it wasn't the fact that I maybe didn't know the answer or that I could get it wrong. It's the fact that I could be seen as stupid. Because, schools have this interesting thing where you're supposed to sit quietly listening to the teacher, or if not listening, then doing like some exercises in your book or something, and you're not supposed to really talk to anyone. You're supposed to stay quiet and either listen or work. But then when it comes to asking and answering questions, that's in front of the entire class. Like, same with like presentations. It's just, to me it always seemed a bit interesting how that all works. But the problems of the modern school system are certainly a whole nother video. A whole nother topic. But it does relate to this. So, I can recall this one time. Maybe this happened more than once, but I can recall a specific time, not the specifics of it. I don't remember what the question was or what class it was or anything like that. But I do remember one day we'd had like homework, and the next time we had that class, we'd like go through that homework. The teacher would like ask the questions and people would say what they answered to whatever the questions in the homework were. So I remember this one specific time where I was picked to answer a question, and I decided to lie to the teacher that I had not done my homework. Yeah. I had done it, but I lied that I had not, to avoid having to answer. That just seems so silly. But that seemed like the better alternative. Because now I was clumped in with the rest of the people who like never did their homework, or people who hadn't done their homework, whether it was people who rarely did it or people who just had forgotten. I was clumped down with them now, instead of being that one lone kid who was too stupid to answer correctly. Just think about that for a second. In my screwed up mind, which it certainly was, still probably is, but it seemed better to take whatever the negative consequences of not having done my homework were than to answer a question wrong. And it seems so silly to look back on when you really think about it, because nowadays I certainly haven't really gotten over this. Let's say I haven't learned to ask dumb questions all that well. or answer questions, though I've certainly gotten a bit better at that, if nothing else. Actually, I'd say quite a lot better at that. But the thing is, who cares? The answer is nobody. Nobody cares if you get an answer in class wrong. You know, in school, when you get a question wrong or ask something stupid, others may very well laugh. Because kids are mean. Seriously. Like, damn, kids can be brutal. But guess what? In a few years, those people who laughed at you, you'll never see them again. You'll never have to interact with them again. So they don't matter. Only the people who are like your friends, who shouldn't be the ones laughing at you, unless it's like that, like friendly type of like, haha, dummy. you know when you call your friend like an idiot as a joke or something. But yeah, these people that actually like make fun of you, in a few years you'll never see them again. But you know that you could certainly like think, okay, yeah, but that's still a few years of school or whatever that I have to stick around, and these people are gonna stick around with me. But guess what? It may take a few years for you to be separated from them, but it takes a few minutes, maybe less, honestly, probably less, for them to forget what the question was, what you answered, and whether or not you were wrong or right. They'll remember it for like a minute. And then they'll be off looking at their phones. Because that's what people do nowadays. Or if they're not looking at their phones, they got other things going on in their lives. You're not that important to them. Like, really? They'll get their laughs out, and then they'll probably be too nervous about the fact that the teacher might actually ask them something next. So yeah, it's silly. But I certainly get it. I mean, it's not as simple as realizing, okay, people don't care, therefore I can easily ask any question I want. No, I know that's not true. Like I said, I certainly haven't mastered asking dumb questions myself, but I'm working towards it. And one thing that really does help is whenever you find yourself with a dumb question, realizing that nobody cares about you asking it. One, there's probably someone with the exact same question if you're in like a large group, like in a classroom. And even if there isn't, these people have other things on their mind, other things going on in their lives. Yeah, keeping that in mind seems to help. At least does help me a bit. But yeah, just knowing this doesn't solve the problem. It still takes practice, like pretty much everything in life. You know, just knowing the theory doesn't alone make you a master of something. You actually gotta practice it too. So, yeah, just don't be so afraid to ask dumb questions. Because one, nobody cares what you answer, and two, because you only need to ask them once if you actually listen and ask enough of them, and not only will you soon not be so stupid, you'll actually be the smart one. You could be the one with the answers to all the questions that somebody else wants to ask. Yeah. See you.